organizers, and 2 of those 9 African-American senators, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina and former Senator Mo Cowan of Massachusetts. Gentlemen, welcome to both of you.
Thank you very much.
Senator Scott,
yes.
why do this event? What was the impetus behind it?
I was thinking about a way to finish Black History Month out with a bang, and I thought to myself, what would be unusual? It would be for me, a Republican, to reach out to some of my good friends on the other side. I mean that actually with affection.
Yeah, usually when you guys say my good friends, you know that's code for something else.
With affection, I decided I'd reach out to Mo and say, listen, I'm putting this event together. I need your support, need your buy-in. If you're going to do this with me, this could be a very successful event, because Black history really is about American history. And if we're going to do it right, we should focus on the fact that this country has come a long way, especially in the last 10 to 20 years, when it comes to electing folks and presenting an opportunity to young kids growing up in poverty. Here's an opportunity to say, in this country, all things are possible.
You know, in a couple days, Senator Cowan, Barack Obama is going to announce this Promise Keepers event, where he's talking about where he wants to focus on essentially the idea that a lot of people said he was going to become, which was this role model for young African-American men in particular who have been told that there is lower ceilings for them to succeed in life, and that, hey, you know what, no, African-American just got elected to the presidency, we've got African-American senators getting elected. And yet, is the glass half full in American politics or half empty? How do you look at it?
Well, listen, I believe I'm with Tim on this. I think we're still on a journey, on an evolutionary journey. We've come a long way, but there's no doubt we still have quite a ways to go. I applaud the president, this new initiative. I do think we need to pay greater attention to the plight of young Black men in this country, to offer them promise and possibility, and to talk about self-importance and self-realization. And so I'm proud of that effort. I hope it is as successful as some other things he's embarked upon. So we're not where we need to go, or where I want us to be, but we are well on our way. And I think today's celebration is part of that as well, to evidence that as Black people in this country have progressed, so have our political viewpoints. It's a nonpartisan event, and I love the fact that we're representing the political spectrum today at the Library of Congress.
What's interesting here, and I want to get to the South in a minute, but Massachusetts. Okay, you're not the first African-American senator from Massachusetts, right? That in itself is interesting. Only 9, and yet 2 from Massachusetts. Massachusetts, not exactly a very large African-American population, has an African-American governor. State's pretty colorblind, and yet there was a time when Boston was not known to be the most colorblind city. Why do you think Massachusetts has gone down this path a lot easier than other states?
Well, I don't know how easy it's been. I mean, Senator Brooke was a trailblazer, certainly in '67 by being elected post-Reconstruction to the Senate. Was a great public servant, had served well at the state level. I think Massachusetts voters are a very sophisticated electorate, and they vote on values, and they vote for people who espouse and live those values. And they've been open, certainly in recent times, to looking at things a little differently than perhaps other parts in the country, and not just judging books by their cover. And I think that you've seen that with our governor, Deval Patrick, and the opportunities I've had to serve in public service. And, you know, I'm proud to be the second Black senator from Massachusetts. I'm also the second Black senator from North Carolina. In fact, that's where I was born, and so was Hiram Revels, the first senator. So,
you know, Senator Scott, obviously the South is a different. The South is a different story. There's been, you're poised to make history. You were appointed, but you would be poised to make history. The assumption is you're going to win this special election that you're in. It's been a tougher journey for African Americans to win statewide office in the South. When Doug Wilder broke that barrier in Virginia, that was a big deal in
1980. Yeah, I remember those days, actually. I'll tell you the truth. What we see in the South happening today are more people of color aligning themselves with the issues that are important in the South. And the South is a big red area of the country. And so if you're not a conservative who understands and articulates conservative values, the chances of you having success, Black or white, is rare. And we see that in our state, where every constitutional office holder today are Republicans. And so the fact of the matter is, it's as much about values and issues as any other thing. And to be reminded that I was elected to Congress in the birthplace of the Civil War in Charleston. And so that tells me that we have come a long way in a very short period of time.
The other part of this, it seems to me, and I'm curious what you both think. You're both, I think we're all of the same generation. We're Gen Xers. We're not baby boomers.
28. How old are you?
Yeah, right. 25. Right. No. But we're all. think we're all three Gen Xers in our 40s. Yes. Do you think the baby boom generation has to die off, where the memory, where the civil rights, the memory of the painful moments of the 60s, sort of the divisive racial politics of this country, once that generation slowly dies off, then suddenly we're just less racially divided? I mean, is it just generational? What do you think it is?
No, first of all, I hope we never forget that part of our past. I mean, this is a great country.
And I don't mean to say forget it, but yeah, I get what you're saying. But anyway,
no, I think it's important that we all recall it, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, because it's part of our rich culture. It's been painful at times. I don't think we need that generation to move on. I think that generation needs to encourage every generation after it, as should ours, to get engaged in civic life, to become involved in this thing we call our government, and recognize the government's supposed to work for all of us. I think that we need more of that, and we need to encourage more people of color, more African Americans, more Latino Americans to embrace the notion of involvement in the civic life so that they can take greater control of their own lives and make sure the government's working well for everyone in the way that it should.
And I see it a little differently. Honestly, my base of support comes from people over the age of 55. I mean, I do really well with folks who are in retirement ages.
Right. That's as a Republican.
As a Republican.
And they look at you as a Republican first, not an African-American person.
So what that tells me, though, is that the evolution of the issue of race has changed dramatically since the 50s, the 40s, perhaps even the 60s. And what I'm seeing when I go around the state, knocking on doors, going into restaurants or businesses, the older folks are like, Tim Scott. And they're excited to be a part of what it seems to be history in South Carolina, which is that we don't think about race first. We think about issues. We think about values. And they're excited to support someone who they believe has their values. And I find that refreshing.
Before I let you go, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this bill in Arizona that the governor is dealing with that would allow religious beliefs to be used to potentially discriminate against gay couples. Yeah. You think a bill like that should be law?
To be honest with you, I haven't followed the issue, so I don't know it well enough to say yes or no to it.
Senator Cowan, do you know this issue very well?
I don't know it very well, but I know it well enough to say that I just think that's a step backwards. Frankly, there is a way we can show fidelity and respect to people's religious beliefs without breeding or creating environments that leads to purposeful discriminatory conduct. Any law that does something like that is a law that no governor, Governor Brewer or anyone else, should sign their name to. That's a step backwards for this nation. We are a country that's all about moving forward. Our laws should do that, and this is not a law that does that.
And Senator Scott, Cory Booker's going to be there, because at first we didn't know if he was going to be there. He's going to be at your event today?
He will be there today.
The president is not making it?
I think the Ukraine or something else is taking up a lot of his attention right now.
All right. Well, we'll be looking forward to the event. Senator Mo Cowan, Senator Tim Scott, thanks for coming on together.
A
good way to honor Black History Month, talking about Black U.S. senators. Thank you.
Thank you.